Hi, I'm Tim Tyler, and this is a video review of the Veho Kuzo camcorder that I bought relatively recently. I got this device on eBuyer for £95, which seems relatively inexpensive for a camcorder with its specifications to me. It does 1080p video, so that's 1920 by 1080 resolution while doing the videos, and 5 megapixel sensor. So this is a brief review of the camcorder. Basically, I'm pleased with it. The video quality is good. Probably the main flaw with it is the microphone. I'm not terribly pleased with the microphone. First of all, disclaimer, my previous camera is this one, another extremely inexpensive camcorder, Vivitar DVR565 HD camcorder. Has a poorer quality lens, lower resolution, older camera basically, so that's what I had previously. I've also got experience with a Logitech webcam, which I'll be making this video with. There's no footage from this camera in this video, however, if you look at the previous 3 videos that I made on this channel, then they're test videos made using this camera, so you can see the video quality that way if you're interested in that side of things. The main thing I want from a video camera is for it to get things in focus basically, in order to do that you need a reasonable quality autofocus system and a reasonable quality lens, and this camera scores quite well on that front. The autofocus is quite good quality. It manages to get things in focus and keep things in focus most of the time, and the optical system, not perfect but sufficiently good quality to do a reasonable job of keeping things in focus, and that's one of the important things that I want from a webcam. Webcam's also got a zoom. Let me turn it on so I can show you some of the things. Here's the boot time. A few seconds, so not perfect but manageable. So let's turn it around so you can see what I'm doing. The zoom is handled by this device here, and that's something like that. And then if I zoom out again, and the zoom is advertised as being 20 times, and it actually says on the device there 20 times zoom. Claims to be 5 times optical zoom, so presumably the rest of the zoom is digital. However, according to my understanding of how zoom factors are calculated, it's a linear scale, and this camera only has 5 times zoom basically. If you zoom right out and then zoom in again, things linearly speaking are 5 times bigger. So maybe 20 times is some kind of marketing figure based on areas, or maybe they didn't implement the 20 times zoom and just wrote it on the box and on the side of the camcorder. Anyway, the digital zoom seems like a relatively useless feature to me, although it's not completely useless, and mainly what you want from a camera is optical zoom, and the 5 times optical zoom works quite well. I'm quite happy with the zoom despite it not quite matching up to the specifications. Zoom is quite quiet. Sometimes zooms in cameras make intrusive noises, and this one doesn't, so that's good. I'll just show you from the front what, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but if I zoom in, or if I zoom right out rather, and then zoom in, you can actually see the lens disappearing inside the camera. So let's have a show you of that. I've got the autofocus on this thing turned off actually, so it's maybe a bit out of focus, but hopefully you'll be able to see that. Zoom, not too bad. One of the main issues with the device is software problems. The software on the device leaves quite a lot to be desired. There's limited kind of resolution options available from within the software. It'd be nice to have autofocus and zoom that kind of stay in sync with each other, so when you zoom in on something, the autofocus changes according to how far away it thinks the object is and what you've done to the zoom, but the camera doesn't do anything like that. It just waits until you finish zooming and then it focuses in again. The autofocus is kind of fairly slow and linear, so it only ever moves the autofocus a step at a time, and in some respects you want it to figure out how far away the object is from how rapidly the blurring changes on objects, and then go directly to where the correct autofocus would be, but the autofocus just checks backwards and forwards at the linear rate basically. Software could be worse. The Japan 8Z camcorder that I tested tested a few weeks ago. That had all the entire menu system in ideograms, and it kind of didn't interface with the computer properly, in that you couldn't delete photographs from the computer, so the whole filing system on that device was pretty screwed basically. But this camcorder just has an ordinary filing system interface, and inside the camera things are in English, and it's basically not too bad, but I can't help thinking that the camcorder software is a million times worse than it could be if it was a kind of an open source effort that was coordinated between different camera manufacturers. But anyway, I don't want to bitch too much about that because other manufacturers probably have similar software related problems. Another issue with the device is the microphone. Microphone is here, and basically it's pointing towards the subject of the camera when you're using the camera to focus on something else. But if you're doing this and using the camera to focus on yourself in order to take pictures of yourself speaking, then the microphone's facing away from you, and that direction is probably the main way in which I use the camcorder, so that's not so good basically from my point of view. And you need about 3 microphones on a camera, I figure, in order to get a reasonable quality audio signal from it, and so one microphone is just not enough really, and this camcorder doesn't even have a kind of forward facing permanent microphone, so I'm not very pleased with the microphone, and there's no external microphone socket, which is the other main thing that I want from a camcorder that few manufacturers will supply me with. Camcorder microphones are notoriously crap, and one way of dealing with the issue is to provide an external microphone socket, and that's cheap and easy for the manufacturers to do, but relatively few of them bother, and this device has huge blank surfaces where we could easily have an extra socket for a microphone, but I guess they're so cost conscious that can't be bothered to include a microphone socket basically, and that would sort out huge numbers of problems with the device from my point of view. Next problems with the device are that it doesn't take still images as well as it could do. I want a camcorder to be able to act as a camera as well, and the camera functionality on this device is not so great basically. So if you press the button to take a photograph, then this is what happens. That's pressing it in halfway, and then if you press it in all the way, it takes the picture. So we've got a 2-stage button, which is clumsy kind of user interface from my point of view. I just want to press a button once, or if I want to give the camera to someone else for them to take a picture of me, I just want to say press this button. I don't want to kind of have to tell them that I have to press it extra hard in order to get past the first stage of the button, and the kind of whole image changes when you press the button halfway in, and it's quite hard to press the button only halfway in. Kind of often it takes a photograph if you attempt to press the button halfway in. So the whole, and there's no flash, like the whole focus of the camcorder is on taking video images, and it's just like they've neglected the whole taking still photograph side of things, and the still photograph functionality is pretty crap basically, and there's kind of autofocus and blurring problems with the still images as well to a greater extent than there should be, I feel. So not very pleased with that side of things. The next issues, I guess, some fairly minor things about the whole camcorder. Pistol form factor, I think I'd probably rather have a straightforward rectangle, bit smaller size, and there's kind of a whole bunch of compromises in the design as a result of trying to get this into a pistol grip, and I don't care about the pistol grip really. Flip. My other camera, I prefer the flip there. Basically lets you sit the camera on the desk and look at the pictures when it's in like that, and you can't do that when the camera flips out in this mode, so I don't really like that so much. Doesn't really click into place either for facing forwards and backwards, minor point, but prefer it if it did. Speaker's pretty tinny and crap, but you don't really need a speaker for a camcorder, so that's fine. Finish, nice rubber finish. Often reviewers praise the finish, and yeah, it's a good finish, no problems there. Shutter, I'd quite like a lens cap, and there's no lens cap, so the lens is exposed and more likely to get scratched and damaged, but probably it'll be okay, so it's not a big deal maybe. Next few issues, cylinder, that's the package. Inconvenient for me to store, and I have to store it because I might want to resell the camera. My previous camera came in this box, which is much more sensible, so I don't give it points for that. Comes with an HDMI cable, or it did in my case. I got it as a sealed unit from eBay, as I say, so that's fine. The mains charger charges through the USB port, which I don't like much because you can't have 2 batteries, but there's some conveniences to charging through the USB port because it means you don't have to take the battery out to recharge it, so some pros pros and cons there, and you can always buy an external charger if you want one, so that's no big deal really. The flash card on the device sticks out at the bottom, which means it's kind of not very waterproof and it could fall out. Not worried about that personally. I don't think the card will fall out, but would have been slightly nicer to have that a bit more enclosed by the battery charger kind of flap really, so less than ideal there, but not too bad. So in summary, yeah, cheap camera, has some problems, could be better, not happy with the microphone, not happy with the performance of the stills functionality, but yeah, not too bad. I'd like a better camcorder, but I'm not prepared to pay extra for it really, and this camcorder hits quite a sweet spot between price and performance, so quite pleased with it, and that's my review of my Kuzo HD camcorder, so enjoy.